We are recording.
All right, let's do our roll call. All right. Lee Bobowski here. Justin.
Here.
Kathleen.
Here.
Barb.
Here.
Cal.
Here.
All right. Looks to me like we got a quorum, John.
Sir.
All right, let's do our pledge of allegiance, if you will. With the flag there, yes? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our first order is the citizen comment period. And our citizen comment left. Just stating Mike was here. If I'm not in, I'm out, he said. Any other? Nobody else. So we're good on that one, all right? Approved minutes from the March 25th meeting.
I so approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Moving ahead. All right, we're talking about major amendments to Plan Development District Number 7, the administrative review for minor site plans for Franklin Industrial Park. So, Regulo, I think this is you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Regulo Martinez, Planning Manager. So, this is a proposed amendment to the Plan Development District Ordinance that regulates what approvals are needed for improvements to existing buildings or new buildings in the industrial park. So the current process is that any improvement or a structure like a fence, parking lot, or a new building needs to go before the Economic Development Commission for review and approval. Okay, that's the current process. So what we are proposing is to have another category that will be called the minor amendment. So a small project such like a fence or a small building addition that is less than 5% increase of the total floor area, and with the exception of if they're expanding like the parking lot, that will be still considered a major project. So the proposal is to leave the major projects, new buildings, additions, more than 5% increase to the floor area or increase to the parking lot. That will go still to the Economic Development Commission. And the minor projects for staff approval. The benefit of this is it will reduce the permitting time for businesses. If it's like a staff approval, it could be between 2 or 3 weeks. For project that needs to go before the Economic Development Commission, that is at least 30 days, because we need time to schedule before you, and if the meeting is canceled or there's no quorum, that add other 30 days for projects. So it's really to save time for businesses to kind of streamline the permitting process. We are proposing 2 options. The first option is to what is this in the current UDO, Unified Development Ordinance, which is in at the bottom of the first page of the report. That's the language from the existing ordinance, and it's very vague into what is the minor amendment. It says, for example, what significantly alter the character of the site or resulting in a significant decrease of the amenities of the site or inconsistent with the approved site plan. So what we are proposing is a different approach, setting the measurable standards that I mentioned, like a 5% increase to the floor area or changes to the parking lot. And this is what is proposed in the draft UDO that was actually adopted this week by the Common Council for the city. So what we're proposing is the option 2, the measurable standards, and the next steps after the recommendation of this commission will be another presentation before the Plan Commission and the decision up to the Common Council. An additional note is a similar ordinance was presented for the business park, the PDD number 18, and that ordinance was approved last year for the same purpose. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
We were talking about it a little bit earlier. Can you give us a couple of examples in the last 12 months that have been delayed because of
I recall a small addition to, I don't remember the business name. Was like a showroom for building products. If I believe correct, yeah, that one. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
The marble showroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
And so by having us part of that, how much because of
You delayed the project like about a month. Yeah.
so it's a real rare occasion that we even get these. I can't remember even one in the last couple of years. One. So the question is, why is this beneficial to the city not having DC?
Because even if it's rare when we have these applications and the business owner is kind of in a hurry to get the permit, and then for some reason it is canceled due to lack of quorum, so that puts an extra pressure on the business. So we're trying to streamline the permitting for small projects, because I mean, if it's a large project or a new building, it will still come before this commission.
I would assume that these requests would be most likely coming from small businesses because of the size of the project.
Could be a large business, but maybe they are proposing just, I don't know, a fence or something small, or a generator outside. Because the current ordinance says that any structure needs to go before the EDC.
Without any specific examples, how many minor changes would you say come before us?
Yeah, to your question and your Bobowski comment, recently has been slow, I will say, few projects.
So why are we solving a problem that doesn't?
Because like 2 or 3 years ago, we had a period that we received multiple applications. So we had that idea, oh, we will need to fix this. But in the last 2 years, it has been slow. Yeah. But maybe in the future, we'll have more projects. I don't know.
We are also going to bi-monthly meeting. So we're meeting every other month. Rather than
Unless there was a need for it.
Here.
Yeah.
for EDC.
Yeah, we don't have that many issues in front of us, so it's like, I mean, we're not going to vote on anything today. Well,
Actually,
we
yeah,
would.
you are.
Yeah, we would on this.
On the proposal and this.
I have a question.
What?
I have a question. Hold on, after
Okay.
the meeting about it.
Sure. Yeah, gotcha. Any other questions that you have, Farm?
I'll just comment that, Franklin should have a reputation of being easier to deal with for businesses. And even though we may not have a great number of people who have been coming forward more recently, I think making this change just is another sign that, yes, we can be more accommodating. And why not? I don't think that there's anything that would be so egregious that we think, oh, well, we have to have a say in what's happening.
I guess I look at it as the opposite. I look at it as another way for the city to just rubber stamp things on oversight, which is something we already used to.
Although if it doesn't go to us, it does go to the planning commission,
It
right?
goes to
It goes
planning
to
regardless.
staff, but it would then go to planning, but it would go from us to planning. So now it's just going to go from staff to planning,
So there's still
And then
oversight.
council.
and then full council.
No. For what we're proposing as minor projects,
Minor.
will go only to planning staff.
Okay,
Right.
right.
But the
Minor,
major
minor.
projects will go to EDC, in this case of the PDD, and if it's not in the PDD, for plan commission.
Gotcha.
Oversight of what?
It's just being approved by staff and there's no outside
Well, there would be the planning commission.
planning
Planning
staff
commission.
for the minor.
Planning staff, then
minor
commission.
projects, it's only staff.
Staff.
only staff.
And in the ordinance for minor projects, it's only staff.
I see.
Kathy, any thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts, but not that I think that I can articulate at the moment. I think I kind of feel like Justin feels and Steve feels that I think there needs to be checks and balances, right? And if we're taking those away from minor things that we can oversee and overlook and try to have input in, right? I feel like down the road, I can see issues.
Look, take me back to that showroom. Would that have considered be?
I don't remember because I don't have the square footage
Yeah.
with me now, but
Who was it in the industrial park within the past year that put on an outdoor eating area? Their, like a little cafeteria on the tip of my tongue. It wasn't Crohn's. Was it? Was it? Did that come here first? Or was that considered more major?
because
I
that
guess
particular
I'm
case,
just all about, as an alderwoman, I get all the complaints about things held up. And our process, from fences to pools to you name it. And I'm all about beating things. I personally feel we have a very, very qualified planning department. I'm highly impressed with the planning department. They're educated. They have to take state requirements, keep up to date with those certain courses. You have to keep your license up. It's very intensive, but it's all required from everyone in the planning department. I personally don't have a problem of minor bypassing this committee, but that's just my own personal recommendation, and I respect the recommendations of others.
Well, that's why I'm still. What do you think? I mean, I don't recall how big it was. I mean, if that would be eliminated out of this, I guess I'm just curious as to what would be eliminated that we've seen in the last.
Didn't that involve parking lot changes and facade changes? So too, and that was more.
That was Alice Roller.
Oh, the asshole.
That was a major. So that would always come before us.
right. But the thing is that currently we don't have that differences between major and minor. What we are proposing is to have that differences and minor to go to staff, and the major still go to
So
PDC.
if your definition said that Alice Roller would still come and the showroom would still come and things less than that, no, I'm good.
The Alice Road project that I remember that was like
Yeah.
an important addition. That it still is a
Yeah.
major project.
And
Yeah.
you think yes or no on the showroom? If the
I
showroom
don't
is still
remember
in, then I'd have
the
no
square
issue.
footage.
Yeah.
So it could be close to that 5%, but I cannot say for sure.
Gotcha. I think Barb swayed me. She says, you know what? You guys are well qualified. I agree with that. That's not an issue. It's the question. I'd hate to say, oh, why did you guys turn your head and not look at it? And the Alice Roller would be part of it, and the showroom would be part of it. Then I'd say, anything less than that, yeah. So I guess my only question is, I would check on that. That's still in the major.
Just one additional note: if there is a project that doesn't meet the ordinance and they need a variance, that will still go before the
Okay.
PDC.
Gotcha. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so 2 against. 1 yes. The majority on this?
Yeah, it's just majority.
Okay. Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good weekend. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you.
All right, strategic planning, CP2.
Okay, in your packet, you have the proposal that was requested by this commission to do a economic development implementation strategy. And so this is the proposal to develop an implementation strategy. And so written out here, but basically what will happen is we'll take the strategic plan that was developed and integrate the feedback that this commission put forward with chairman's guidance on, some actions that we want to see completed in economic development. And so that will be integrated into it with our guidance and input. And so there'll be a companion document. It won't replace the strategic plan that was developed. It will be an implementation plan. So an action plan, if you will. So we'll take the extra input that we've provided, the documents that we reviewed, that we generated, and sent to Ms. Plaish at CP2. So that will be integrated into that. And so then we'll have an implementation plan that has all the input from both efforts. That'll give us an action plan. And with that, we'll have a couple of sessions with Ms. Plaish, who's the director of CP.
Okay.
I think one of them will be virtual. It could be.
Kind of like the sessions that we had last year.
Yeah.
The breakout sessions.
Shortened version.
So
of
those
that.
again?
Well-
Are we going to pay for them again?
Well, this would be to review
The outcome of those sessions?
what the input is. This is going to be to review the document to provide any more guidance on the drafting. So we would be in drafting mode.
And where are the funds from?
It would be from our budget.
Thank you. Yep.
Justin, did you read CP2 proposal plan?
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to read it?
I glanced over it, get all the way through it.
And Barb, I think you did. So if we said, nah, skip it, it is what it is, what would you do, plan, John? Send it to the council, say here it is?
Yes, and then there are specific actions that have to take place that are in that upgrade our toolkit. One part of it talks about having some revolving loan fund guidelines, but also identifying industrial park properties that we should look at developing, and also retail areas that we should look at developing.
Gotcha. Michelle, you have an answer?
I glanced over it, but as
Well, the
far
reason I
as-
say that is, going from here, it would ultimately go to city council,
Right.
that kind of deal. I didn't think it was very. That was why I challenged it.
I don't think you've seen
I didn't
this.
see that.
I don't think she's seen that, yeah,
No.
that
Yeah,
was before she.
so I guess before we spend any more money, I don't think it's usable. So
I mean, I've seen, at some point,
But-
where did I see this?
if you do think it's usable,
If I
then
can
I say
take a
let's not
peek at
spend
it.
any more money.
Well,
Go with it. That would be my thought.
what are your thoughts? I mean, I was involved in the breakout session,
Yeah.
the group things,
Yeah.
I was in all of that.
Yeah.
These are just a couple of pages of it. I can get the whole thing to you.
So, I mean, I've seen, maybe not this exact format, but I saw a lot of the results. I don't know how, where, when, but I did see
Here's
something
the whole
after.
thing. It's actually a report giving us the information. That's just kind of like
Didn't you
the-
see this already at
the
council?
breakouts.
We saw this. I saw this somewhere.
Okay.
I have this, something like this.
I'm pretty sure I
At
sent it out to
home.
participants, but I'd have to.
You
Maybe
check.
that's
sent
right.
it out to us, but it also went to Alders, I believe.
Okay.
Thank you. I have this
Yeah,
somewhere.
because I think
Right.
you would have received it,
Okay.
Right.
yeah,
Because it went out to all the participants,
yeah,
participating bodies, which would have been alders,
right,
would have been.
yeah.
Like I said, I have to see that email to say for sure.
Justin,
right?
you had
know,
thoughts?
you guys.
I did, so, to simplify, this is we paid to be told what we need.
Yeah.
And this follow-up is paying to be told what we've been told what we need.
No. There was more input from that. You know, Steve put forward some suggestions and some input. I went through and added to that, and then it was available to the commission to add to that. And so we took that input from the commission and sent that to her, and she said, not something that we're going to supplement with. We need to take both bodies of input and integrate them. So the document she's proposing that we've asked her to put together or submit a proposal for would integrate that study and the input that we've provided as a commission for economic development activities and objectives and goals. So what we've put forward is a bit more action-oriented.
Well, and just, I didn't think this was what the dog.
I don't either.
And so I put together a strategic,
Okay.
and without, spending $40,000 on it. So I said, look, this isn't a strategic plan. She owes us a strategic plan. But I can combine it. I'm just simply saying, I think we got the best we're gonna get out of her.
When you know the copies, because from my move, I don't know which bin of work this is at the moment, but I'm meeting with Land by Label to go over the Orchard View project. Land by
Cost
Label,
general.
Cost General.
76.
I would love to be able to take a copy of this. See, this is the type of restaurants, because I know what they're going to tell me.
Okay.
I'd love to give them this as
Yeah.
if that's something that a developer sees. And it could be like, look, this is what Franklin wants. We
Right.
don't want what you're necessarily. Maybe I think they're
Well,
on the same
And
page. as us.
that is the concept of the street plan. Here
Right.
is what we're looking to attract. These are the kind
Right.
of business we should pursue. I didn't see that in there.
And that, I think
No, it
that's,
does. It right here. But what I saw was the restaurant. When asked what kind of restaurants you'd want, frequent in Franklin, top 5 are locally owned, non-chain, ethnic cuisine, casual sit-down dining, supper clubs, fine dining, farm table. It's really all over the place except for fast food.
it's not a strategic plan.
Right.
And I think that's where my issue is coming from is we paid this firm for a strategic plan. I'm going to point out I was against the firm in the first place because they were using stock images on their website and it was very badly edited. But we paid for a strategic plan. They didn't give us a strategic plan, so now we want to give more money and get them closer to what we thought we were paying for in the first place.
And I'm saying, I think we got the best we're gonna get out of them. Is what,
What did we approve this for again? Was it that for?
30 something.
I would have done it.
No.
Yeah, I have PowerPoint.
No, 21. But take a look at these. These were items that we came out of, and yes, we could have had some more action-oriented type of marketing and development plans, but there are some objectives and goals in there that we asked, well, did we have this and that in there? And this and that was identifying industrial sites, and identifying retail sites, getting some of our tools in place. And so I won't say that we didn't get any kind of a strategic plan or items we had to work on, but these were items when we got into a retreat session, these were the things that came out as being most important. Now, could there have been more done? Yes. Did we identify that? Yes. But when you're talking about a strategic plan like Green Bay has, which is standard, that's an economic development corporation, nonprofit, private. These are the kinds of things that the city has to work on in improving and putting resources behind. And it's a bit different function in a bit different format. That's why the integration for the implementation part of this is what we're asking.
I feel, what's another 2,500 to get, and then that's it,
Yeah.
right?
I guess my question is, okay, if we don't do that,
Yeah. And then
what are we supposed to do? And I think I know what the answer is. Let's go with what we put together ourselves and let's run with it. and run with the chairman's plan. And
No, I'm suggesting we pay for that, run with that.
just that.
But I wouldn't spend more money because I don't think we get anything. Based upon our experience here. Okay, and that's why I only asked Michelle, if you guys can run with that and approve something, then let's go. And you don't have to answer today. I would just ask you to kind of take a look at it and say, is this the kind of stuff that the city council says this is enough for us to say yes to? If so,
With this tool right here is oh, out, but and Barb, what were you gonna
I was going to ask John, in dealing with developers, is this enough? Would a developer look at this and say, well, here, I need more details?
I think, well, the one part they're going to like to hear is that with the UDO, that was part of this plan, is to promote that we're going to decrease that timeline. And having some other sites going on into the future, yeah, they're going to want to see that, although the developers are more interested in functioning with what we have right now. And we have some strategy out there about, interacting with the developers more. And that's where our input comes into play. We have some more tasking type items that we would put forward to do that. And so, yeah, for the developers, they're going to want to work with properties that are available now. And so I think that's what we're looking at. What do we do now to make things happen? Whereas this other plan takes a look at the strategy, what are we going to have to do to make things happen in the future? And so we're trying to integrate the two.
you didn't by chance bring the one I put together. I'll take a look at it. But you didn't get
I didn't either,
Yeah,
no.
so I'm sorry, I should have sent one.
No, hang on a second.
No, you just talked about it.
I mean, I'm not overly impressed. Those great shots from the get-go. I tried to have it in there. But I don't know. That was all new to me. Maybe that's normal. Done, but
And I agree, it's not the same as what you would normally think of as a strategic plan like Engage
No.
Franklin would have,
no.
or like M7 would have, or
No.
like Green Bay would have.
Exactly. I was like, it was weird.
It's a great analysis of focus group answers, but when we first
From-
discussed this, I thought we were getting a strategic plan.
I did too.
Did not.
I felt like she didn't understand, obviously. Like she didn't take her time to do the homework in a way.
Who understands it?
I think there goes trust.
Okay, so I do
Okay,
have,
so-
I'm sorry.
So what would you like from this action?
I mean,
This is stuff that
430.
we edited, so.
I appreciate the work that was done with this, but 431 responses. That can't speak for this.
Well, that's, I mean,
431.
Pardon?
percentage.
431%. 430.
Well, okay,
Is that a good number for something like this?
We were told, well, it's 431 households, not residents.
True.
And we were told that was a good response.
Michelle, what is your email?
I can, 2 N's, CHMA, and then Franklin, WI.gov.
This is the amalgamy that we put forward with both documents, just as a start, as an example.
Did this commission put together?
Yes. Yes.
John and Steve,
Pardon?
that you two essentially were able to.
Well, I think
Yeah.
everybody had some, additional suggestions, but that was just an example of
I'm
where we could
impressed by this
start.
front page. So if I'm understanding this right, if we didn't spend this money, we wrote this.
Pardon?
This would be in place of somebody to have any more work, essentially,
That was just an example to get her started. And so
that we did, I don't know.
that we did,
Right.
but it has her information in it and it has our information in it.
I didn't want, did you want to see a copy of this? I'll pass it down.
Sure.
I think it's impressive. There's more information here than that.
Well,
And
it's,
what
it's,
she
it's
made.
because we took her work and we added to it.
Sorry, do you want to?
And
No,
so that would be, this would be similar to what she would come up with.
Yeah.
But it would have enough of what she has
Mhm.
to give us some background. And then we have as well.
Okay, do you have the one I sent there, John?
Somewhere's in here.
Yeah.
Telling the story of Frank. I don't, the city hasn't always had a good reputation. Seriously.
So just to give you an idea of what I had put in mind, it was a vision statement, strategic priorities. Number one, business attraction retention goal. Visit Franklin hub for innovative businesses, industries, while supporting existing enterprises. Objective, market Franklin's proximity to Milwaukee and major transportation corridors. Promote Franklin recreation and entertainment activities, including the Rock Complex. Develop and incentive programs to attract.
I just
Actions.
gave her-
Okay.
Gotcha.
Can we make a copy? Point being is, that is, you didn't have a copy. Did you?
Maybe this, yeah, I won't keep
Well,
this
everybody
copy.
would have got
This
a
is
copy of
John's.
that in the email. There's no doubt of that.
And I don't want to take the whole thing.
Right, and
This
I
might-
guess that's.
But if I could someday get a printed copy, it's stored in my mailbox. Whatever. You don't mind. This, I like this. I liked both, each one. So then we wouldn't be spending the 2,500, that money would go towards something else.
Something else, yeah. But I don't think it's that, if that's good enough for you, then I'm good. The one that they submitted, I would say. that
It
should-
needs more, this is very weak.
Okay. So
It's
then,
my personal.
Yeah.
Well, that's just 2 pages from it that we were pulling from to create the other document. But if you're talking about looking at strategies and so forth, that's part of it. The rest of it's in the report. Strategy part of it is part of the report, which gives you all the input that we have.
I mean, the font, space, it's huge picture. I feel like a
That's only 2
Franklin,
pages
a
of the
Franklin high school
document.
senior.
That's not the work product.
Okay,
The big document you've got sitting in front of
it
you
is, though.
has all that in there. This is just vignettes. What was
so I guess my recommendation is to not move forward with it at the moment. Let a couple of the other folks get up to speed. What you think? If you think you can move on that one, then I don't think there's any need to go with it. If not, then I think we go back and look. Okay, so I'm okay with it. If you can make moves.
I guess that's the question is, what do you want to do?
And my question too is,
Shouldn't just put it all on her.
no, the whole community. Is it gonna be extra work? Too? Because I'd rather spend the 2,500.
I don't know,
We've
because
got you going in a million directions in the city. We need to clone
I
you
don't
as
know
it
what
is.
this body's gonna come up with or what they want. That's what we're trying to get to.
Where are the expectations of the people who are expecting input? All the people who participated for the Common Council, I mean, who's expecting something to come out of this? All of that activity took place, and now what? There be some completion, some closure. I'm not
Well,
quite sure how that looks.
Everybody that participated in that should have gotten a copy of it.
Mhm.
And so that's what they expect.
And that's enough, do you think? Is that all they want? Is that all we want?
Has anyone
I
asked?
guess, I
Kinda
guess
like
they,
forgot.
I guess they want to know what it is we're going to do. I mean, if we want to add to this, if we want to have the implementation plan that we take to the council along with this and say, okay, here's the report, the background, here's what we think we need to get accomplished with that background. You know, do you accept it? Do you have additions, deletions, subtractions? You know, what's your opinion? And then we come back and, well, budget process has started already. Then we come back in probably September and we ask for a budget that funds
That implements it.
either that or whatever the amalgamy is that we have for an implementation.
So this needs done before that point.
We need to
The
decide,
completion.
yeah, we need to decide if we're gonna have the implementation plan in addition to that, or just that.
So that the additional fee, the additional services we're engaging for are to create and implement.
Right.
So we went into this for a strategic plan and did not get, it seems like, what any of us thought a strategic plan was. Are we going to go into this again expecting an implementation plan and not getting an implementation?
Well, I would expect that we would get an implementation plan. We
I
have
expect it to be a
tasking.
strategic plan.
Well, you know, what I'd like to do is get us past bashing the current product that's out there for what we paid and for what came out of the retreat.
I don't know that that's fair, because you're asking us to buy something else from someone who's given us a faulty product. So it's not bashing it. So if I'm going to buy a car, I'm
I
going
guess,
to buy it to the
I
last
guess the
one I
thing
bought.
is I don't think it was a faulty product. I think it identified what we were looking for as far as research. It identified some areas that we needed to address. And in fact, at the last meeting was brought up here. Well, where's this, and that? And they were right there in the plan. But we want some other things. I understand that. And
For the sake of the team here, can you put up there what you sent?
And again, well, we're looking at different types of products that mean different things to different. So what the cities is gonna look like is gonna look different than what Green Bay's Economic Development Corporation's plan is gonna look like, which is gonna look different than the sales plan development program that you were using to draft this. This was a sales, the program that you used to draft this, what was the name of it? There was a program you used that started with.
Oh, I just used the Dale Carnegie approach to putting together a strategic plan.
Okay.
It was a strategic plan.
Okay, but that's gonna be different than everybody else's.
No, pretty consistent.
I've done lots of strategic plans, and they don't. The strategy of it involves development of resources in addition to utilizing resources. It's different.
Well, but there's a vision and there's a mission and steps to be taken,
Yep.
which was not in that plan. There was nothing of that.
Well, what was in that plan is steps that have to be taken before we can get to a lot of the marketing and promotion activity that I think we want to see.
Is it gonna save you time? I'd rather have you use that time to get somebody in place.
Only if we decide that we don't want to spend money on it, but we want to have that kind of a work product. That we don't want that kind of direction and that kind of guidance.
I'd rather your time be used find a tenant for the NML vacant and a million other things on our list. Person.
Then to sit down and do this is a company that can take everything we have and do it for $2,500 at the end of the day. Money was already. That's my personal thought process. I'm open to other input.
No, but I think what the plan is supposed to be, who are we looking for as opposed to are we waiting for people to call us? And then, go from there. And that was the concept, Michelle, which is to say, who should we be putting in what location as part of a plan consistent with our overall goal? To me, this did not deliver that. What I sent isn't perfect. In fact, I got a full-time job doing other things, but I just tried to put together kind of structure that if we, again, I'm looking for somebody who we paid money to go through and,
So you are looking for someone to go through. The nice thing
well, I
about-
thought that's what we paid for.
And your description, your description highlights what the difference between the two are.
Okay.
Who should we be looking for? Where should we be putting them? Whereas this other one's talking about the tools that we need to attract them, identifying the places that we need to put them in the future and coming up, and pulling obstacles out of the way that keep us from getting them landed. And because these were the issues that were brought up, these were the issues that were brought up at the retreat. And that's why they're in that, because they're, again, that's the strategy part of it. You got to get by that to get accomplished what you want to see in the other plan.
Well, okay, so if we take this here, we have a vision, and that was part of the whole discussion, which we said at that, I'll call it focus group. So we talk about taking Franklin, making it a hub of business, residents, visitors, and we talked about vibrant economy, sustainable growth, and a high quality life. That's not in this one over here. We talk about promoting economic prosperity by attracting and supporting diverse businesses, enhancing infrastructure, and fostering a collaborative environment that benefits both business as well as residents. That was not also addressed in here. Point being is we had, I think it was a 70-30, some sort of combination there, which is should probably be in here. We talk about seeking and fostering sustainable economic growth, attracting new businesses, supporting existing enterprises, and leveraging key assets such as tax rates, as well as the fact that we had the Rock Center as part of it. Okay. Then it got into breaking into the types of businesses that we should be approaching. We got technology and innovation, healthcare. There we go. We got healthcare, life sciences, advanced manufacturing, retail and hospitality, small business and enterprises. We talked about residential to commercial ratio. Okay, I guess I do have it at 70-30. Which I think is on the wall here somewhere. Commercial support. Then we started talking about some of the strengths, weaknesses, selling Franklin and how we would do that. We'd highlight strategic location, showcase the business incentives, demonstrate community support, leverage key assets, personalized assistance. Who's responsible? And this to me was important. Who's responsible for it? We talked about this. One of those kinds of things, which is, and I'm going to support you, Michelle. This is, hey, there's only so much you can do. The whole point saying is, okay, if this is true, we're out there selling it. That's different than where we are today, which means we need extra resources. That's what this is saying. Now, if you would say, no, we don't really want to go after it that way, then we want to wait for people to call us. That's a different kind of strategic plan.
We have no money in the budget, any extra
Okay.
resources whatsoever.
Yeah.
To be honest, we don't. We sit on personnel committee. We just don't. We're struggling very badly right now as a city to try to retain who we have.
Okay, so and that would be great because, okay, so if we go here and say, this is really great, guys, but we can't afford it. And we change the game and say, okay, so then we are a status quo, wait for people to approach
We can
us.
afford it if we raise taxes.
Okay, but again, the part of the strategic which says, here's what we can, this is a great idea, but we can't afford it. We should all agree to that.
Oh, and I'm new, and I don't want to keep doing all the talking and keep you all here later, but isn't that what John's position is and why he makes the big bucks? Just kidding. John works like that. I get emails from him like all day Sunday, Sunday night, holidays. John works just like Jesse does. But
But
and that's why we contract out to M7 and some of these other. It's M7.
It's on 7.
I mean, that's why
That's
we
the
have
reason.
these other companies that
And the
do
point
that
being,
for
though,
our
is
city.
there's the expectation that John is doing all this. And that's not fair if we're not giving him the resources. And that's what this is saying. Look, let's not put an unfair expectation for a, economic development commission, mission, et cetera, if we don't have it. So, well, guess what? We can't afford this, so this is what we're gonna do. That's different than a strategic plan, which is saying this is what we would like to do. Now we're talking about, okay, what can we afford to do? We got to start with something somewhere, which is what is the big vision, break it down and say, guess what, that's huge. This is what we can do based upon what we've got. That's all I was looking for us to be able to, so as a community, we say, okay, got it, this is where we're at. And so again, I mean, all these different things, built the rock, improve the infrastructure,
The
transportation.
rock's developed.
Yeah, but it's not being used as, the entertainment value, bringing more to it, and that was just.
But that's what Engage Franklin's doing. I'm on the board of directors. of Engage. We're bringing you should come to. I invite you to a meet Monday night. I don't know where, somewhere in the city. There will be a meeting. I had gotten the email and we were meeting. Usually meet at either Mulligan, Swagger, the Hampton, back at Point After somewhere.
Okay.
Bugs.
This one's gonna be out
Okay.
of town,
But that's the whole job of Brandon. We used to have Laura Nelson, Rockstar, and to visit Milwaukee Snake for more than what we could afford. But Laura's still on there. But that's our whole thing with Engage is heads and beds.
Yeah.
Is basically what we do.
Got it.
So to bring in people.
Well, okay, so that said, again, what is the mission and the purpose then of the EDC? If it's not to bring in more businesses, retain new businesses, bring in businesses, retain existing businesses, that kind of stuff. And so that's more of a strategic plan. And we say we can't afford to do that. Good. Let's table it. Here's what we can afford to do and put our expectations in reality. And oh, yes, let's do that. And that was the beginning here with John, which says, we can't do this, okay, with this man alone.
Okay.
And that's, but these are all nice things.
They are.
And but, and that's the big but, which says, guys, don't expect that because we're not giving him the resources to do that. That's where this was starting as opposed to an expectation that we can do everything all the time.
You have the resources.
Not to do this.
Not to do this. And that was my point, which is, okay, if you can't do this, then let's have reasonable expectations as to what we can do here. Can 2,500 get us to what we can reasonably expect to do, you think?
Well,
So let's say this.
that's going to take some interaction
Yeah.
beyond what we're talking about. We have to do the back and forth like you both just described to put this plan forward in addition to whatever or on its own, or we put that forward and then the city says, well, we can't fund all that, so what can we fund?
And I would really like to hear we can't afford to do that. Right. Now
Well,
we can. now
I'm
we
not
can-
the only.
No, but I understand. But the reason I asked
You
that,
have a
Michelle,
lot
is-
of information.
yeah, but no, right, exactly. Because if this doesn't give you enough direction, this says, yeah, that's a nice thought, but we can't afford it. Then we own it down. Here's what we can do. That to me is then marching orders. Or marching orders are too strong, but I mean it's at least acceptable and understandable game plan. That's all.
And
And that would involve bringing Daniel Brown. Financial.
Yeah.
I'm not on finance. So I will
Well, but okay,
disclose
so
that.
but that's why.
I used to be.
Yeah, but
once
that's
upon
why
a
the
time.
committee would look
Not
and say,
everything.
okay, yeah, well, these are good. Ooh, what can we shuffle? That's great. We're going to shuffle this, that, the other thing, or no. So it's just we won't know unless we ask and say, here's a vision. That was the thought.
Okay.
but to answer your question, yeah, dollars would give us a plan that we could take.
Then I'd
But
say
then,
this,
but then we start the discussion process back and forth, honing it down, which probably you don't want to consult them for anyway. Because at
Right.
that point, it's the finance committee, it's the personnel committee, and it's the economic development commission. Meeting it as a ad hoc committee, I would say.
I'm looking for yours. What do you guys need to move forward? Because we really would like to move forward. There's a vision that, okay, here's where Franklin's going. I don't know what y'all need. I mean, this is what I'd like to say. Here it is. And I'm happy to hear no. Nope, we can't afford that. It's okay to me.
I guess the discussion at this point is decide what to do with Cory, with
Yeah.
too. So to mitigate this, we're all talking about different things. As the professional economic developers here, you tell me implementation plan. What are we paying for? What are we going to get out of it?
We're going to get a product that has, going to look something like that, not just like that, but the documents that I've sent you where we did an amalgamy as a start, that's more along the lines of what we'll see. And it'll have the information from this report.
Okay, so this tells us this is what you need. And then the implementation report is going to say this is how you do it.
This tells us this is what you, part of what you got, what you need, what you've gotten from input from the community.
So what the stakeholders say we need.
Right.
And then an implementation report, by definition, the word implementation should tell us how to do it.
How we go get it. Yes.
Okay. So so if you say this is an implementation report and I vote yes and everybody votes yes and we get it, so you're telling us that is what we're going to see in this next piece of report that tells us how to get the things we're looking for. Whether we can afford them or not, this is what you need to do to make this happen.
Right.
Because it's not her job to tell us if we can afford it.
Right, exactly.
That's the expectation.
Yeah, that's the expectation.
I'm keeping this, Michelle.
You know, I keep looking at the bottom line here. $2,500 is not a great deal of money. We're not talking about $25,000 or $500,000. For $2,500, I think that would help us make that next step that John.
I agree.
Yeah, as long as we're all clear on what we all are on the same page of what this report that we were paying for is. That's
And I think to yours before, we didn't get what we thought we were going to get.
No.
But this gets us
Just
closer.
start.
I agree with you,
Right.
Barb. That was not the issue. It's like, are we going to get what we're asking for this time? That's
But-
all.
Kind of sitting over here doing most of the listening and not so much talking between the two of you. I feel like it was like apples and oranges and you're trying to put them together to make the fruit. Like it wasn't going to happen that
Fruit
way.
salad,
Yeah, fruit salad, right? So
but fruit salad's nourishing.
it is, but
If it moves it ahead, I'm with you 100%. $2,500.
2,500.
Yeah, I'm there.
Right.
But
And it was
I just
already-
didn't want us to get another thing that isn't what we were asking for.
and that's why we're ordering fruit salad and we get guacamole. Technically still fruit, but not what we were expecting. I just don't want that to be the case.
And there is no guarantee
No, there's not.
that what
But,
comes out of it is going to be what
But
you're
that's
expecting.
where I was going. We
Yeah.
didn't get what we were expecting
Right.
here. Why
Oh.
would we?
And I do understand what you're saying.
John, I've heard the comment, we've already paid for this. Does this need a motion to approve the $2,500?
Yes.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Do we not follow Robert's rule?
I don't think so because Steve votes.
I'm just there.
That was one of my first questions. I think. Do you want to?
This is how we've done it.
Well, the only reason, and I don't know that it's necessary, I'm just asking, like, because it's being recorded and someone goes back and listens, you have no idea. So, like, usually the chair will call on. But if we're not that formal, we're not that formal. I know Civic isn't. I know there's a few other committees that are not. And the mayor said that's okay.
Oh, then we're okay.
I just was
Well, I can check on the operating corrections we have. I mean, we have operating procedures
oh, we did.
in ordinance.
Yeah.
And it's actually, they're actually on the front page
Yep.
of the
I just-
economic development page.
Some committees and commissions do something and get a grasp of.
Yeah, the Economic Development Commission front page, those operating rules on it, and it may mention what operating procedures they have about how the meetings should be run.
Because like there's no motion, right?
In the minutes?
Yeah.
Minutes.
Sure there are.
Yes, there are, yeah. In the last.
Okay,
I'll get the hang of it.
all right, good enough to, so 5 is done, let's go to economic development update, business appreciation celebration date.
Okay. So, I checked to see when the newsletter comes out after election. And that's what we're talking about when we're looking at having the business appreciation celebration. And April 15th is the deadline for the newsletter that would follow that event. So probably the best time to have it would be the last week of March. And here's why that happens. It'll get us past the deadlines for the elections and get us out of the election season so we can have a news release.
Is the election in April?
And John, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't know we removed it from the end of the year. So
We did, we voted to go at sometime in, we were looking at January, and then I was talking to you about how this doesn't get us out of the election season. And so we were looking at March or April.
all right, well, I'd like to make a motion to move back to prior to Christmas.
January is always the big South Suburban.
Right.
I wouldn't do it the same.
And
Well,
we did
lots of things happen in a month. I mean, we don't have a calendar where
Yeah.
we have one event only one event every month. I mean, there's always multiple events every month. And so,
And this
We've
is
got-
the one, this is not the Polish Center. Tuckaway.
Right.
Well, yeah.
We had it generally in November, October, November.
October, November, and we decided at the last meeting, 2 meetings ago actually, that time of the year is just too insane to do that, and that's when we talked about moving it back. And we ran into this issue, which we also will have later in the year, of where 2 out of every 3 years, we won't be able to say anything about it in the newspapers or in a news release because that's blackout time for elections. We can't have any of the officials that are running for office, and every 2 out of 3 years we will have that listed in any kind of a publication or quoted. And so that's why we're looking at moving it back,
Including the mayor.
including
Obviously,
the
the
mayor.
big mayor.
Yeah.
Approaching quickly.
So
So John, but
I'm looking for the last week of March because it gets us away from, like we always bump into, the Plan Commission or the Community Development Commission, and gets us away from, well, it gets us in line with the due date for the next newsletter, so we can announce and put in it, you know, with the mayor's comments and any other elected officials' comments that are going to be in that kind of a news release, in the newsletter and in the newspaper.
So
the
that would mean we don't have one this
election-
year.
right,
Correct.
we would basically say, right.
We wouldn't.
Not in 2025, would be in 2026. And that's normally, and that's why the chamber has theirs in the spring, and that's why a lot of these other nonprofit organizations have in the spring. For us, the insanity is palpable, and it ends up in serious repercussions if we can't meet the October 31st, which is always October 15th or 16th or 17th, to get our projects done for the TIF district. Because all that stuff's got to be done, decided, voted on through the multiple Mass Nations. I think Regulo was describing something that's kind of. I'll show you what the checklist is for that. And so we have to do that. We have 3 projects that are going to involve creating new TIF districts possibly this year. I will guarantee you we're going to have. And that's all going to crunch up in October. You've got all the contractors that come in and developers that want to get stuff started before the end of the year. So that's why That's why I brought this up. And that's why we decided to put it off. And now we're just trying to figure out what the exact date should
Looking back, was that the one Tim ran?
Not if it was 2 meetings
don't-
ago.
I don't think so.
Because
I don't think
this
so.
is my 3rd meeting and you've been out.
It's only your
Yeah.
And how late in the year can we do it without any election cycle? I mean, I think there's value having it this year, but
Well, the last week of November where we have it actually puts us out because you can't have it in December. And so you're not going to be in that newsletter unless it's generic and we don't mention any of the elected officials that are there.
well, I don't
So
think.
it's just going to be Steve.
Well, yeah. Well, again, but you still have pictures of the fact of it, and it's really
No,
no.
no, you can't have their pictures. I mean,
Really? On any of that?
no, we're not.
Okay.
And that's what we just bumped up with our biannual report. We couldn't put it out because we couldn't have any of the elected officials running for office, which means we couldn't have the council listed in it.
Remember picture?
Yeah, those are the pictures I was, yes. I
I
still,
need to
we're,
redo
we,
that
we do have it coming up
The
here,
glamour shot.
or you can get that redone. No, we're gonna get it redone.
Yeah.
That Corner,
Isn't it?
corner council person and the photographer.
So we can't have it in the month, so the paper gets pulled into.
But we can do anything as long as we don't have to put all of the politicians. Correct, John?
Correct.
So we're letting the fact, a couple of side mentions of people running for office dictate that we have a celebration
Well,
of
the
25.
mayoral one is the big one.
When is that? What's the date for that?
April 7th. Don't even know yet.
Well, it's gonna be the second Tuesday of April,
So
or
we're
is it the first
Sunday,
Tuesday?
Monday, the April 7th or 14th. It's the 14th
That's the second Tuesday.
was the election. You just said the other. Oh no, it's the 7th.
Yeah, it would be the 7th.
Yeah, because you just said at the senior lunch a week from
Yep.
a year from today. So it's the 7th.
I'll have to cancel that.
Well, okay, so now we're saying, so it's not gonna be in April, it'll be in May then, right?
No, because the newsletter deadline is the 15th. That'll occur after the election.
We might
Yeah,
even be getting
it'll
rid
be
of
a
the
week and a
newsletter.
day.
By the way,
Pardon?
we might be getting rid of the right. But then he said that at the
But it'll still, if we have a news release,
Right.
which we would have.
So what's wrong with November?
Yeah. Well, in late November, again, we had it the last week, next to the last week this year. And so that puts us that puts us in the December newsletter, which is where our conflict is. December through April is the blackout.
And I don't care about putting it in the newsletter.
I guess I don't either because it's a business. I don't.
Paid for by the city.
I think
That's
it's more
right, I was
important
just gonna
we
mention
have
that.
it.
The city pays for it.
I think it's more important we have it than I have no who reads it. A lot of people, unfortunately.
Well, I always hear about it.
So
Put
if
in
it's
this
paid
newsletter.
for by tax dollars, though,
Yes, it is.
shouldn't the community be aware of it?
We can still talk about it, we just can't mention politicians running for office.
Which D3
The
for
mayor and the cap.
2 out of 3 years.
yeah 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all. See, it's gonna be a and the mayor.
To avoid all of the conflict is mid to late April the appropriate time.
Well, like I said, last week of March, looking for getting the news out. Have it released the day after the election.
Okay.
and
then-
getting it in that April newsletter, which is the 15th, it comes out the next month,
Mhm.
comes out in May.
And there could be a brand new mayor who had nothing, all the business brought in. I don't like that idea.
True.
No.
There's nothing precluding from the mayor being at this celebration and
It's,
giving out awards, is there? So then, I suppose we move it back to keep it in timing. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I guess I would.
Okay.
I just, 'cause I don't like the idea of going a year without.
Yeah.
I don't
April,
either,
May.
Well, at some point, like I say, everybody does these things in the spring to avoid what we're trying to avoid, and it gets bumped back. Bumped back, and pretty soon you're back at the end of the year, and it's like, oh, we can't go without one.
So we're on, what are we on, year 4, with the November timing?
No, this would be year 3 coming up. We've been 2 years. Before that, we were in October.
Okay, so
Yeah.
October, November.
It used to be in,
Yeah.
I won't tell you, I remember.
But it wasn't in April.
No,
always been
No,
at
it's
the end
never
of the
been in
year.
the spring.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what your history on this is. Typically, with other places I've been for the past 34 years, kind of how it's always worked out is things get bumped back. Maybe it didn't happen here. I know why the chambers have their stuff early in the year.
Why, Barb?
it was usually based on when the speaker was available, to be honest with you. So the chamber did hold it sometimes in January, sometimes February. But no later than.
Always,
And nothing,
always done mine.
South Suburban has nothing,
Winter
Chamber has
early.
nothing to do with it. That was just,
No, it's
so
not
based on the
process.
speaker.
Yes, it was based on we really didn't pay attention to whether or not we were accommodating the politicians. to be
Right,
honest
because
with
it's
you.
not about us.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not, that's not the
You're right, it
purpose.
wasn't.
It's not the purpose of it.
Yeah, you didn't have to because you're not precluded
Mm-hmm.
from putting names out
That's right.
because you're not a government funded agent
And
or a government agent.
in fact, we had politicians who came just for the purpose of politics, making sure they met all their constituents, which was fine. Okay.
We even had pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But you're right, we were funded much differently.
Discussion sound like making this more like engage and not this type of commission is way more beneficial.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't be a city commission at that point. You'd have to form a nonprofit organization.
So we have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor of moving it back to an October or November date?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3. Opposed? 2. The 3's got it. All right. Next, we got the current projects. Closed session. Yes.
Oh, do you want to talk about, it's not that far off, about speakers for the event, for the business appreciation. You're planning to do this in fall.
Yeah.
We should start talking about it now.
The last one,
Well,
didn't you
it
get?
should be on the agenda.
Oh, okay, well,
But go
oh,
ahead.
because it just says date. Okay, so we can't talk about speakers? this
I
fall?
have
Go
a-
ahead. We're not that official.
Okay. Okay, we have a new secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions, Wendy Bauman, previously with WIBIC, or there was, WIBIC stands for the Women's Business Council. Spent 30 plus years developing helping women develop businesses. She's now. That's
And
an
what was her
option.
name?
Wendy Bauman. Twins. She's the Secretary of Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. I heard her speak about a month ago.
Where did she speak with that?
She spoke to the Women's Fund event.
I feel like I've heard.
You probably have. You know, she's been around a long time, and she's from Milwaukee. Her office had been.
Who was the women's speaker we had?
That took away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her face. Megan. She was. In development, also with the state,
Yeah.
and I don't remember exactly the department. Very good.
I heard.
Oh, people didn't like her?
No, they came to me and say, "How did you pick her?"
Oh, what was the issue?
They thought that she was underprepared and very slanted. So that was I got 4
Oh,
people came to me
really?
and said
That's
they didn't like her
interesting.
at all. Which in the following year we had what is her name from the real estate.
Oh, Tracy.
Tracy.
Tracy Johnson.
Yeah, she got very nice. So okay, but so we're open
Yeah.
for
Whatever.
find whoever. Yeah. Good.
Well, I guess the question is, do we want to have someone who's an entertainer or someone who's bringing some substance to business? Because we've had an entertainer in the past.
Ooh,
No, not here.
Maybe I'm thinking of the.
We thought about it. We tried, but we didn't.
Oh.
And then it was like, okay, how much money? Oh, 25 grand.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that was
That's not
kinda
going to happen. Okay.
Yeah, but we have talked about having some people who had that kind of appeal, in which case you had more income. That was kind of, but we didn't. We made it have somebody had some, you know.
and we never had like a Franklin business owner speak ever.
Didn't we have Saputo? Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Saputo
that's
before
right.
Because I
Saputo.
was thinking Paul from Carmen.
I think we have.
We've had Paul.
Yeah, in fact, I think we did a question and answer with. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So
Mike
the answer
Zimmer.
is we've had.
Mike Zimmer.
Maybe. So the answer is yes, we've had them in the past.
Okay.
I'd say, okay, that's should be a higher. So next session, we should probably be with the numbers. Everybody come back with 2.
John, when does this change to bi-monthly?
Sir?
When does that happen? Change to bi-monthly meeting?
Well, this was supposed to be our month off because April's meeting got pushed back. And so we're meeting, the next meeting date would be June 20th. This is postponed meeting for me.
It'll be June, August.
For meetings.
So June and then not till. Did that doesn't have.
No, it would be June, August.
No.
wouldn't
June,
it?
August.
No, we just vote on, it requires a motion approval by this body.
By the way,
That's in
we
the
can
operations.
change it, and the point being, we have nothing to vote on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, nice to see you guys. Love you.
Yeah. Not that much. Is that what you're
But if we
thinking?
got something to talk about, we'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
I asked because, and I may have changed, but I know we've had a lot of discussion about our business choices, more time to take care of those. Bi-monthly planning for this, but the rest of the year we do. It's just that
Well, you
enough
can make a
time.
motion to have one in May. And the answer is, we can say yes.
I think we're doing that.
Wait, we're in May.
Right, June.
Right
Yeah,
now.
I'm thinking yes.
Oh, my gosh. You would have to go with July
I'm still,
because,
I'm
yeah,
still in April.
April
I
and
don't
May.
know. Yeah.
April is already in May, and then June
Yeah.
we have one, so then it would have to
So
be
we have it next month.
So Johnny works fine because our November dinner is not going to be till April 8th, so you're good.
Thanks. All right, so in our June meeting, folks, come with some folks.
Yeah.
You know, 2 things. One, who you'd like, and then who do you think we can get? Who do you know? And coming to yours, Barb, I'm open to all those things. I think that we should all be open to, you know.
This will be simple for me, because I know no one.
But you could have certain areas would say, hey, what about?
Right.
True.
That would
yeah.
be kind of an interesting thing. I heard this, I saw that.
Yeah,
Does anybody know? Because somebody knows somebody.
that's true.
I mean,
I do know a lot of people,
Yeah,
just not
I'm
a
sure.
lot.
yeah.
Like that, so.
But also areas of
Yeah.
interest of people.
Yeah,
What are people talking about? Sure, you know, why would that be appealing to people here in Franklin? We're pretty open to what we can, you know. Gotcha. Last year we had Kayanga, and his slides didn't work, but he still carried it
Oh,
off.
yeah.
Okay.
It was like he didn't, he didn't
Yeah,
really
he
need
did
them.
fine. Yeah, he did a
Yes.
nice job.
I didn't hear any, nobody came, John thinks I was there, but I didn't hear anything negative about the speaker. I just heard negative stuff about
I didn't hear about the food, but I mean, a number of people
I heard about
complained
the
about, you know, technical stuff, which is, gosh, you should have practiced ahead of time. And we did. We actually did. He set it up. It ran. And then came game time, it didn't. It was like, oh. But he still was a champ.
So is golf course got
Is that big enough?
the ability to, yeah, it's usually fairly tight in there.
I
Do
don't
they
think
have
it's
the
big enough.
ability to project presentation?
Yeah, we did. They had something on the wall. Yep.
I personally like the venue.
Which venue?
Polish.
Yeah,
I feel like Tuckway is too small or too crammed in there.
I like the venue.
yeah.
It's a great venue.
Okay, what is all the food? So I am an appetizer. I'd like to go to a party all day, every day appetizers. I could live off of them, but not everyone likes that. And I have found each year that we've done that. I've been impressed. It's been fine by me. But the feedback I hear is there's a lot of confusion. People will take a plate when they get there, have some. People take a plate when they get there, grab some light food because they think it's like appetizers, and then they sit down and they're expecting the meal to be.
You know, if
yeah.
people were paying $50 a plate for this meal, yeah, they can complain.
yeah,
They're not paying anything for this.
Right.
yeah.
So I would just dismiss any complaints about the food, to be honest with you.
I think we should put it out there more that the
And
appetizer
just,
is the
and
meal.
just make it more clear.
Right,
Or
before
just
people-
appetizers.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if there's confusion, let's try and
Well,
be more.
Typically that's what's on the
He
invitation.
put
It says
It is.
heavy,
Heavy
heavy,
or-
Heavy
Oh, okay.
appetizers, since that.
heavy appetizers
Too bad.
in lieu of meal.
Okay.
I
Fine.
think that would be good,
Yeah.
because then people will pile up, instead of taking 1 or 2 pieces of shrimp, they'll take 10 or 12. I mean,
That's true.
there was plenty
Or-
of food, the quality of the food was good.
Uh-huh.
Or my opinion, if you have a problem with the food, go home and eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you don't have in a business event, invite business people, predominant business people from the city at 5 o'clock and not feed. You know what I mean?
No.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I have done what you
If
said.
you don't want to
I've
feed
gone to
someone
Taco
for
Bell,
Sunday at
actually.
noon.
Yeah, okay.
But in all fairness, there was a lot of food.
There was
A lot. And the
If
quality.
you went home hungry, shame on you.
But I think
Because
people
they're
did, because
Well,
they
they
didn't
can just
think
get
that
a
that
line
wasn't the
again.
meal.
I mean, no one's
And-
that shy.
I'm gonna throw it out there.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Not anybody we know. What the hell?
Justin knows how I feel because we discussed this immensely with Ms. Alder. The invitation last year, I think we spent way too much money to have that done, and it was very hard to read. I didn't even share it on my Alderwoman Facebook page because you couldn't read the writing on it.
Yeah, the Evite that you did, that one.
I was very displeased. I'm just gonna throw that out there now. Who did that? Didn't Mary Christine?
Mhm. She was, I don't think she might have been the one.
Does she,
Evite.
Yeah, but yeah.
It would be the Evite program. but-
It was so dark, like you couldn't read the lettering on it. That's the problem.
So being a newbie here is something that
Was that the
We
email?
participated.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I said being a newbie here, I don't know, is this something that we all participate in?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have homework to do this year.
Aller is Kathy. And we expect you to cook.
Not good at
I
that.
don't have to for once.
We
I
just,
will.
we
I
just
make
touched
amazing
base on-
desserts.
You gotta, Barb's looking for names for the speakers. She brought that up, but,
Mhm.
we're gonna need names also for companies that you think should be
Right.
nominated for
Yeah.
awards. And this year, I don't think we're doing interviews, but,
Yeah, that was-
James
Did we
Bill,
ever
State
settle
Farm.
that?
For real, he gives back so much to the community. He never gets anything.
Who's that?
James Build from State Farm. The mayor is even insured through. I'm not because I've been. But
So-
he gives back so much to the community.
but there's different
He's so community
categories.
driven.
We need to nominate for each one.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, we made a motion to move the event back to fall, but we still don't have a date. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, that's gonna depend on venue availability. too.
That you can talk about, but you can try to bracket it.
Mm-hmm. Just get some idea of what are the possibilities. And I always bring this up, we have to make sure, and I know that I guess the Packers schedule is coming out next week. Make sure if it's going to be on a Thursday night, that it's not during the fall.
Well, and it's not during plan commission, then you lose half council and the mayor.
Things to-
Oh,
Then we don't have to worry about the blackout.
but the mayor, if the mayor has enough advance notice, we can bump plan. We did that for South Suburban Chamber dinner last year because it was ridiculous in the past. South Suburban, not when you were at it. You're welcome. Kristen Jastroff didn't care.
Second week of the month, get you out of
Go figure.
the council. Second week of October or November, get you out of the conflict with plan commission and the council.
We can bump plan.
So
We cannot bump
you-
council, obviously.
You can.
We have. The mayor did it for South Suburban. If he did it for South Suburban, he can do it for our own.
Well,
You know what I mean?
is that what you want to do?
Not
Or
ideally.
would you prefer to avoid it?
Of course, prefer to avoid it, but
Well,
if it happens,
let's start
we've got
there.
more than enough notice.
So you're saying
Anything can be bumped. Really, it can though. I wouldn't do the week of Thanksgiving.
no?
No.
So that gives you is November 6th.
And we're talking Thursday, or Thursday,
Well, we did
or
it.
what's,
Didn't we do it Tuesday this year? Last year? We did it on Tuesday last year in 2024. We did.
So it's open
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean,
That is it.
Friday,
I'm-
probably not as good on Friday, Saturday.
I'm guessing you don't want a Friday, but I would say the other days of the week are available. Mondays.
So going back to that though, so we could either do probably near the end of October, beginning of November, and it depends upon the speaker. Gar.
And venue.
Okay.
Keep the food the same, but we'll have the verbiage different. I say we look at the new person, do the invitation.
You guys could
You okay?
mentally with the first week of November then?
Let's see. So first week of November. Well, the 3rd and the 6th are already out.
Monday or Wednesday.
Right. I mean, I'm so sorry. The 4th, the 7th,
Yeah.
4th and the 7th.
Of November.
Yes. Unless we go into the second week. of
Isn't the
November.
7th a Friday?
Okay.
So we don't
Yes,
want that
these
anyhow.
new glasses. I just
So we can
got
do the
would you
6th.
I don't know.
6th, yes? Or the 4th? You're saying no on the 4th, right?
No on the 4th. No on the.
Or the 6th?
so
Okay.
is the 5th open?
So it's the 3rd and the 5th for November. If you're doing the first week.
Why does it have to be that first week? That's
Well, no, we
more-
just took that as a shot.
Second week is more
Well,
flexible because then we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all open.
If that's good.
That's a lot for
Yeah, so let's do for the
that
second
first
week.
week.
Second week. Yeah.
Perfect. Good to go.
Fine.
Any major board or commission that we can.
Okay, so that would then, who could speak, then be the next, and then the venue. Okay? Polar Center still
So-
good?
I mean, I'm open to that Wendy Ballman, but we can cover us. I like the idea that Barb is her. I know I heard her. say- Does South
Probably,
Suburban
yeah.
have her? A woman in
Yeah,
business
well,
luncheon?
Could be. Might have been.
Yeah, she's a lot of stuff here.
Just ordered. I'm like 355. I really don't.
I don't. I've had an event up there years ago. I don't think. Not large enough.
Way bigger than what Red River had.
I'm 247.
I used to turn away weddings.
We're two.
The lodge has better than, because I would turn away weddings. Sorry.
I don't know what it has. It's actually do more to Polish.
Lodge is way too. Are you getting married?
No, I'm thinking for this.
Oh. But then we'd have to hire a caterer.
All right, so we're talking the second week of November, and we'll come back from. Okay. Good. And everybody's going to come with names or thoughts on some possible. Okay, so now, are we okay with moving beyond economic development update A?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Sorry, we're out of time.
I think it's up to you, John. All right, current prospects.
All right, you have to go in closed session.
I move that we enter closed session
I'll
pursuant to
sec-
Wisconsin Stat Subsection 19.
I'll second.
We need from our competition to consider potential commercial industrial manufacturing development and government addition actions in relation thereto.
I'll second. We're going into closed session for the record at 4:30 p.m.
All right. All right, the next item on the agenda is our voucher approval. We've already approved it, so we're good to go. Next meeting date, it says June 20th. Is it possible to make it the 13th? Look for others.
No.
Something
well-
going on the 13th?
Yeah, that's we have Project Butterfly.
Yeah.
That's huge. We don't know what time yet.
We don't know. But we don't know the 3 o'clock.
We don't know yet. We gotta save that whole day. It's one of the most important days in the history of Franklin. It's a big deal.
And I'm assuming that this, that some future announcement might be public for everyone. Some future announcement, possible. Okay, it's not just a news release. Okay.
Okay, so the 13th might be, might not. 20th doesn't work.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about the 6th or the 20th?
27.
I won't get it.
Wait, is that the, when is there? 27?
th works. Good for everybody?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter
Because you can't be at anyone?
because my last day is
Sure.
unless I'm reappointed as of right now.
But
Well,
then
I'm
you're
sure
open.
you'll be reappointed if you want.
Yeah, I'm
to be
available.
reappointed. I can't see it.
Yeah.
The one they kicked. And then motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Did we set the date?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Thank you.